Growing up, I was taught to save, so that's what I did. I saved, I saved, and I saved. But nobody told me what I was saving for. I didn't want to buy fancy clothes or cars, but I knew I should be doing something with my money. I just didn't know what. So here are 5 things I do with my savings that you can too. The first thing I do is pay off all my debts. So aside from your mortgage, if you have things like credit card debts, car loans, student loans, medical bills, these are all debts that are good to get rid of, especially if they are high interest. Getting rid of debt is going to give you more financial independence and just make you feel a lot better. Now, there is an argument that says investing is better than paying off low interest debt, and that might be true, but I think it also depends on your personality type. For me, I don't like owing anyone money and I like to keep things simple. So for me, paying off debt works better. If you do have a lot of debt you want to get rid of, you can use something called the debt snowball method. This is where you list all your debts from lowest to highest and you make the minimum payments on all your debts except the lowest payment. The lowest payment you want to get rid of as fast as possible. So once you pay off that debt, you'll have more money to target the next debt. And when you get that paid off, you'll have more money to target the next debt. And you keep doing this until you get rid of all your debts. And that's called the debt snowball method. The second thing I do is have an emergency fund. For most people, the recommendation is to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. And this emergency fund will help you in case you lose your job or you're unable to work. You don't have to take on more debt. You can just rely on your savings instead, and this will help you get you through that tough time. For me, I have more than 6 months just because I'm self-employed and my income can fluctuate a lot, and I also live really cheap, so it's easier for me to build up the funds I need. If you have a lot more living expenses, you'll obviously need a lot more savings to cover those expenses. So that's another benefit of keeping your expenses really low. Ideally, this money should be kept in a high yield savings account. A high yield savings account is going to offer a lot more interest than your typical bank would, usually 10 to 20 times more. So while your money is just sitting there, it's going to earn a little bit more interest. Some good banks to use are Ally Bank, American Express, and SoFi. They don't have any minimums and no fees, and they offer really good interest rates. The third thing I do with my money is I invest it. A lot of people think investing is about picking the right stocks, when really investing doesn't need to be anything like that. If you leave your money in the bank, you're losing about 3% every year due to inflation. I know interest rates are really high right now, but historically they are much lower. Even if you are earning a little bit of money in the bank, you're still missing out on bigger opportunities elsewhere. And this is what's called opportunity cost. This means by doing one thing, you're missing out on another opportunity to earn a lot more money. So what are these other opportunities? The first thing I take advantage of is my employer's 401k match. So if your employer has, say, a 3 or 5% match, that's free money that you can take advantage of. Even if you have $250 every month from your employer, over 30 years at 10% interest rate, that's over $500,000 that you're missing out on. That's totally free money. Of course, you still have to pay taxes when you take this out, and there might be some management fees, but it's still really good money. Another thing I do is I contribute to my Roth IRA. This is done with post-tax money, so when you take money out when you're retired, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. For 2024, you can contribute up to $7,000 as long as your income is below a certain threshold. I really like this option because aside from not having to pay taxes during retirement, it's a lot more flexible. So you can pick any broker account you want and pick your own fund, and some of these funds are pretty low cost. What I do is I use Vanguard, Fidelity is another option, and I just buy a total stock market index fund. You can also buy a target date fund, and what this will do is make your investment less risky as you approach your target retirement age. If you're self-employed, you can also use something called a solo 401k. This is where you set up a 401k for your own company, so you can contribute money as the employee, and also you can contribute a lot more as the employer. Again, you can still pick a target date fund or invest in index funds like I do. The fourth thing I do with my money is I enjoy it. Saving money is good, but it's also important to have fun and build experiences. Especially when you're younger, you'll have more time and energy to do things. I think traveling is one of the best things you can do, and of course you have fun, but it also gives you education and shapes you as a person. I went to Costa Rica for a month, and that gave me a lot of confidence because I was like, hey, I'm able to do things now. But you also don't need to travel very far either. Sometimes in your own country, there's a lot of things to explore. One time I went on a cross-country road trip, and there's a lot of cool things to see even in your own country. The memories that you make while traveling are going to stick with you for the rest of your life, even after the vacation is over. For me, it's something I can think back on, and it just gives me more joy in my life. Also, with enjoying your money, don't be afraid to upgrade your lifestyle a bit. Sometimes these little things can make a huge difference in your life. I got a standing desk, and that was a game changer. I also really enjoyed my AirPods, and these are just like little things that you can buy that make a big improvement. Other things you might want to consider are taking care of your health. So maybe you want to get LASIK eye surgery or braces or anything like that. These things can really significantly improve your quality of life. Number 5 is to give back. And I think people forget how fortunate we are where we can just turn on the tap and get clean water. And that's not available everywhere. And there's so many different charities out there. There's global charities, there's local charities, all these different causes, veterans, disabilities, there's environmental charities. And I think it's really important that you pick something that aligns with you, and also that you do your own research. There might be good charities out there, and there might be bad charities. So that's why it's important to do your own research, but don't be afraid to give back a little bit. If you enjoyed this video, check out this next one.